Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to do something a little bit different today that I hope is going to help you tremendously. But I have a couple of requests, so please don't forward the video. Number one, please listen to the next 1 or 2 minutes as I talk through a few things because it's really going to resonate with you. Number two, check out the video in its entirety if you can, if you have the time. I'm going to share a bunch of technical and tactical details. Number three, enjoy it. Okay, so what do I want to talk about? This video is mostly geared towards juniors, but even if you aren't a junior, you're going to learn a ton about technique and tactics. I really want to talk to the juniors today because I know that you guys go through a lot of pressure. You experience a lot of pressure when it comes to college applications, pressure to compete in a highly competitive environment to get your rank to a certain level, pressure to do extremely well in your academics and standardized tests. And then obviously there's the social pressure, pressure from our family and parents potentially, and so on and so forth. But there's this other side of it when it comes to coaching as well. And from all of the juniors that I do work with, I hear different stories. Some people tell me that they can't get a hold of a good coach because either the coaches are just too busy where they live. Other people are in areas that also have really good coaches, but the coaches aren't able to commit the specific time and attention and provide the customization that the student needs because they have a very large program. Other people talk about being with coaches that have a particular style of play and a style of coaching, which may or may not align with the student's natural strengths, their personality, their tendencies. What I really strive to do with my students is address all of the above and more. I help people get clear on what their style of squash looks like, how to leverage their strengths, how to train effectively in order to get better faster, how to put together a robust training plan in order to actually achieve your goals, how to manage your pressure so that if you're playing someone who's slightly weaker than you, you're able to close it out clinically. And if you're playing someone better than you, how to rise to their standard, how to close out close games when you're stuck and you feel that pressure and you suddenly shift into a different mental mode and then you end up losing close games and close matches, and a whole lot more. Now I'm going to stop talking. That was a lot, but if you feel like you are stuck, you're not able to improve as quickly as you'd like to improve, you have certain goals and you just feel like, I need to do something differently, send me an email at aha@performance.com. I can analyze your matches. I put together a detailed report for you. I teach you a whole host of things. I prioritize what you should work on, how to work on it, why you should work on it. And that's physically, technically, tactically, and mentally. Okay, let's get into this video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch both players. I'm not affiliated with either of these players, but we're going to watch this to break down some technique, break down some tactics, and really give you guys an understanding of some of the things that players are doing really well, what can be done differently. So we're already seeing a pretty attacking game by the gentleman in the white shirt. And as you can see, I've covered off their names on the scoreboard because just for privacy reasons. And although these matches are available on YouTube for anyone to watch, there's a ton of good junior squash actually available on YouTube. The taller gentleman in white is doing a really good job to cut that ball off in the mid-court, and he's hitting some clean lines in length, which is applying pressure on the gentleman in the orange shirt. Orange or red, I can't quite tell. See, the first few rallies of a match are always interesting because you get to see it's a time when people are nervous, players are nervous, everyone's settling in. We're trying to feel each other out to see who's feeling sharp, who's hitting cleanly, who's moving well. And then you also get a sense of players' style. there are obviously strategies to manage that mental side of things. A lot of it stems from figuring out through awareness where your energy levels are, and then you can use different strategies to move those energy levels to where you want them to be. Because a certain level of energy leads to optimal performance. Too much and we get too tight, too little and we're too flat. So it's quite the fine balance that we need to strike. So this is a good little comeback from the gentleman in the, we'll just say it's a red colored shirt for ease. He's taken over the middle of the court a little bit, whereas the white shirt was dominating the mid-court for those first 4 points or so. That's a wicked working Boast, solid 2-all attacking Boast. See, that's a nice variation. So the gentleman in red is hitting clean lines, and he's thrown in one variation out of the back with quality. That's the key. You don't want to just be firing boasts in willy-nilly and then not have the quality to back them up. So clearly he spent a lot of time building that boast. Tough to tell whether that was an intentional trickle boast or not, but probably was intentional. It was good variation in angles. So far, this is very much a game of error exchange. I don't know the total error tally, but there are definitely more errors than there are winners. There's another one. So this is a sign more of the mind. So whoever can manage their error count is likely going to emerge victorious in this game and possibly the match. Because both players seem relatively evenly matched in terms of their ability to hit clean lines, get on the volley, take the ball in short. There doesn't seem to be too much of a difference at the moment in terms of their skill levels and abilities. See, that there is an interesting point. When you catch your opponent so far out of position, what I always teach my students is you almost have to have a light bulb go off when that happens, because you know that if someone is that far out of position, you know that they're poaching on the tee. In an ideal world, gentleman in white will have a little light bulb go off in his head to say, okay, when I'm in the back, my opponent is poaching over and really looking for that volley. So I either have to hit a high quality straight drive, either go low and quick through the court, which is tough when you're under pressure, or I really use that top quadrant of the court, or I change the angle and I hit the cross. Maybe even a boast if you're confident hitting that boast. It's slightly higher risk with the boast. That's a good use of height there. Good aggression to get on that volley nice and early. And that's really so much of squash is about patterns of play and understanding your tendencies, understanding your opponent's tendencies, and then figuring out how you can break those down. So another really good use of the boast by red shirt. That's a strong volley. And that's the thing with someone as tall as the white shirt, you really need to be using that top fifth of the court to get some solid height. Just like that, or you have to go nice and low because they can't really do much from that position. Well, no one can if it's that low. Oh, that's a nice variation, and he saved it for a key time in the game. Oftentimes, the first time you use a variation like that, it catches the opponent out. So it was a smart attempt to put that reverse boast in now. That's a nice clean line and good strength across the middle of the court. Nice lob, just resetting the rally. It's a good line, good defense. Another good running cross-court angle there. That Boast is it's an interesting shot because it's one of his strongest shots as well, but it's also been a source of at least 2 errors, if memory serves me right. I would not advise moving away from it because it is something, especially from his forehand, that is creating opportunities for him. It's good height and width. Ooh. So again, going back to the point about error management, this game, again, if we did a tally, there's probably a total of 10 or 12 errors between both the boys here. And again, none of this is obviously meant to be negative towards anyone. It's just positive, constructive feedback. And I'm sure it's stuff that they've spoken to with their coaches and are working to remedy. This is a more patient rally, which is expected at this stage of the game because both players are not trying to hit an error. Oh, there's that same Boast. Must have been 5 or 6 errors in that game for red shirt. But that's part of it, right? So I'm assuming that at this point, both players' coaches had conversations around managing their errors, making sure that you are choosing the right time and you're finding that balance between attacking and resetting. Whoever can keep their error count down, given how close they are in level, is going to want to emerge victorious. Red shirt has a really strong attacking Boast, especially from the forehand, and then he's really stretching his opponent out. White shirt, and then red shirt is also, when he's able to get his length and width right, he's able to control the middle of the court and then get on the ball early and apply pressure. White shirt is basically leveraging that strategy by using his height to control the middle of the court. The white shirt hasn't shown us so far that he has the same level of attacking abilities that red shirt has with his angles like a Boast or a kill or a hold, but white shirt really has size and he has reach. So I would encourage him, I'm sure his coach encouraged him to really look to stretch out and control that midcourt and move red shirt left to right, because we know red shirt poaches a little bit on the tee, and then also send him front to back. The more variations and options you can use to disrupt your opponent, obviously, the better off you are. But you have to be clear on what your strength zone is and what your skills are like and what your capabilities are like. And that's obviously the reason we train is we have to understand what we're capable of, what we aren't, and what we can add to our game to just increase layers of disruption. Okay, so let's see how game 2 unfolds. And obviously in terms of the pace of play and things like that, each player would have to assess how they feel physically, because this is obviously the third day of a pretty deep tournament, so they're both probably physically a little bit possibly sore, likely sore, and a bit fatigued. But it seems like both of them are comfortable playing at a fairly similar pace as sort of their peak pace. So it's hard to say that one would necessarily be advised to slow it down, but that would all depend on the physicality. And that's part of the reason of, if you have a coach, speaking to your coach about how you're feeling and then adjusting your strategy accordingly, because there could be an ideal strategy to win a match, but if you're not capable of executing that ideal strategy, then you have to come up with a plan B. And if their plan B isn't on, then a plan C. So you can see white shirt has gotten a bit more severe with his hitting, with his pace, how early he's getting onto the ball. His hands are not quite as soft at this point as red shirt, but if he can put that pressure on red shirt with pace and taking time away from him, he'll also take away red shirt's attacking options. That was a nice boast again. It's that forehand boast is one of his strongest zones. That's a nice variation again. Now, when you're playing someone and the shot like the boast is working, even if you throw it in excessively and it's still working, there's no harm in continuing to use it. The risk you run with excessive boasting is if you're playing someone who is very quick into the front and they are anticipating the boast and they're getting on that ball early, then you're going to get into trouble because they're going to counterattack you or they can hold you. Red shirt is hitting high quality boasts and they're sitting down. So he's not giving his opponent time to hold necessarily, but if he's playing someone who's really quick and really fast and who's seeing it, he can get counterattacked, which is the risk he runs. But he's doing, that was a nice choice through the middle. This is pretty high quality squash. That's a nice finish. You can see both boys are thoughtful with their shot selection. They're both attacking. They're both using some variations from the front. They're mixing in some counter drops into the front by getting on the ball early. The difference between, say, these guys and the next level would be a little bit more accuracy with, let's say, the counter drops. They'd be squeezed a little bit more. Shots like that. See, that was a nice angle that red shirt used off the boast, but against a slightly higher level player, and obviously white shirt is quite a good player, so please don't get me wrong, against the next level of player, he would have been punished for that first cross-court nick that he went for because the ball sat up quite a bit. But again, it's all relative, right? There's no, it's not a judgmental thing of good and bad. That was a nice hold. It's just about relativity. What level do you want to reach? What are you striving for? And then you have to determine how hard you're willing to work to get there. That was a nice variation. He definitely looked like he was going for a cross-court nick, so that was a good change of angles. Good line and weight. Another good cross-court by red shirt. Nice little hold. Yeah, that's a good hold. He also angled his body over to show the straight. And then white shirt's putting a little bit of work, so he probably guessed there on purpose to try and hedge his bets. That shot was on. I wouldn't be mad at him if I was coaching him for going for it. The only thing you want to think about there is obviously your margins. When you've already put work into your opponent has just guessed, you want to really try to extend that. So you want to think about those moments where your opponent's giving you some sort of tell with their body language and their effort. You don't want to let them off the hook right after that. It puts a little bit of reverse pressure on you because then your opponent feels that little breathing room and they feel, oh, okay. So yeah, I gave up on that point, but this person's also not quite as tough, and they've given me that little break that I needed. So big stretch by white shirt to control that tee, take up a lot of space in the middle of the court, and make red shirt really work around him. And there's a little bit of that mental discipline there by going for that boast right away. And that backhand boast has led to a lot of tin for him. So it's also recognizing and understanding, what's working, what isn't, when to use it. That was a clean line. He did move on to the tee to take his space, but that was a clean line and off of a loose ball that red shirt hit. It's a good lift. Nice to see the backhand boast going in on that one. It's a clean line by white shirt, but a good variation. I need a sip of water. I'm sure these guys do too. red shirt just missed the target on that cross court. He set up that point pretty well. That's nice and tight. Good volley. And then another attack goes in. It's good defending by white shirt. And good enough width, nice and low and hard and wide enough. That was good awareness. Understanding that you're playing someone who's tall, someone who likes to volley. Good awareness to play that hard and wide. Always nice to win a point off of just high quality length. Feels good. I've started feeling almost better with that high quality length outright winner than front court attacks. It's a nice cross. It's a good little Boast. It's just the quality wasn't quite there because it sat up off the side. That's a good reach there. And missed the target on the drive. It's good pressure here, but couldn't quite finish that off. Oh, and the lucky bounce. So white shirt is creating a lot of opportunities for himself. We could see that in that last rally. But again, just that finishing touch, that final quality for white shirt is missing at the moment relative to the red shirt. Red shirt is able to, his length is sitting down just a little bit more. His cross courts are sitting down into the sidewall just a bit better. His boasts are running away from red shirt just a little bit more. So it's that subtle increase or higher level of pressure and accuracy that red shirt is creating that's allowing him to win the points either through white shirt's errors, or when white shirt is going for it, he's just giving red shirt enough space, which is then allowing him to do what he needs to do from there. So it'll be interesting to see. Red shirt obviously needs to just keep doing what he's doing. He needs to keep finding his length and width. He's got some nice cross-court angles working. He's hitting some deep. He's hitting some a little bit shorter and harder. You saw him go extra wide on some of the cross courts that got the ball past white shirt's volley. And then his boast is continuing to stretch white shirt into the front. Now, again, it's one of these things where if I'm playing with you and I'm only ever hitting a straight drive out of the back corner, well, you're going to start anticipating that because it's obvious, and you're going to adjust your tee position. And then unless my straight drive is perfect, you're not really going to be able to, I'm not really going to be able to win points off of my drive anymore because you're now over to the sidewall. You know it's coming. You're ready. You're not really distressed mentally. You're not uncertain. You're not hesitating. What red shirt is doing extremely well is that he's mixing up straight versus cross, and he's got the boast. He's got a volley drop. He's using a volley drop and a volley cross, occasionally volley straight drive, and he's doing it from different positions. And then occasionally he's also using a little bit of a hold, and he's mixing up his pace a little bit too. It's usually medium fast, but then he's throwing in some quick ones, and then he's also using some height at times. It's a good cross court running away, followed by the volley. Another good hunting of the tee, controlling the tee. That's nice, nicely read and on it early. And quick one. Yeah, it's nice. Now, if you're a white shirt, how can you combat someone who is volleying as much and attacking as much? He can look to use a little bit more height. He can look to use a little bit more width. He might want to slow the pace down a little bit because red shirt is enjoying the fast pace. And we know that red shirt likes to get on the ball early, and it seems like he has a tendency to cheat over a little bit on the volley. So for white shirt, you want to try and see if he has the skill to hold the ball. You want him holding the ball a little bit and or using a little bit of disguise to break down red shirt's movement. That's unlucky. But you can see red shirt is in command right now. He's controlling the tee, he's controlling the pace, he's volleying a lot, and white shirt is not really able to attack him. He's defending. And when he does attack, he doesn't quite have the quality to attack at the moment. See, that was better quality. This is good work. And that's a good sign when your opponent gives up on the rally after putting some work into them. Let's see if he can maintain this momentum. Nice little hold there, forcing the error. It's exactly what we just spoke about. If he can get on that ball and just hold him, break down Red Shirt's movement, that'll be big. It looks like the ball went on a court. We might have to skip through the video a little bit if it takes a little while. Okay, it's back. Here we go. That's good width. The pace is back up a little bit by Red Shirt. He had a moment to gather himself physically. Nice little hold again and good target. Now, obviously, you know, if I was doing this analysis with you, I would be stopping the video, taking some screen grabs, showing you, creating a report for you that shows you what the error is, how to correct the error with some examples of some professionals, be talking through how to build a skill. That's a good line. It's a very detailed process. It takes a fair bit of time, but it provides a lot of clarity. That's a good line. See, Red Shirt's fallen off with his accuracy a little bit. Could be physical. You can see his back muscles and his lungs and his ribs kind of pumping up and down a bit. White Shirt staying in front. That's another hold. Another little hold. Ooh, it was on. That's a combination of probably a little bit of mental feelings, mental distress, because he knows he's on the back end of rallies. He's probably feeling it physically a bit because he's been on the back end of rallies. That there going for the nick, and his shot quality's fallen off a fair bit relative to before. These are all signs that he's physically and mentally feeling it. That's a nice drop, and when you see your opponent unable to follow up that shot, that's always a good sign. So, you know, as this game is ending, Red Shirt really has to think about managing his energy levels, not going crazy with pace, but mixing up the pace of the game while still being proactive. So that's a really, really fine balance. How do you remain proactive without just jumping on every shot? And there's the guess that seals the deal in that game. He has to make sure he finds his length and his width again to keep White Shirt off the volley. Red Shirt has to make sure that he doesn't give White Shirt a tremendous amount of time on the ball. So as soon as Red Shirt gave White Shirt time on the ball, White Shirt was able to get his racket prepped early, hold, snap straight, snap cross. He could really break him down. So it's an interesting position, because if Red Shirt can keep his accuracy up at pace, White Shirt is in trouble, because that was essentially what game 2 was and part of game 1. But if Red Shirt doesn't have the physicality to keep up the pace and accuracy, which would be ideal, then he has to find a way to maintain his accuracy so that White Shirt does not have so much time on the ball to be able to hold. White shirt needs to recognize, and I'm sure he does or did at this time, that red shirt is feeling things physically. And because he's feeling it physically, white shirt has to take some positivity from that and confidence from that and continue to apply that pressure by using his reach, using his size. Even if the shot quality isn't perfect, if he can continue to extend red shirt across the court by just getting on the volley and taking time away from him, he's going to continue to put that work and damage into red shirt's legs, into his mental confidence. And then he's going to get those openings where the ball's going to sit up a little bit, and then he can really hold and then break down red shirt's movement. If white shirt is able to do that, especially in the first few rallies of the game, I don't know how mentally tough red shirt is, but there might be a little bit of a drop off at that point. So it'll be interesting to see how this game pans out. Oh, it's not red shirt anymore, it's blue shirt. Or black, I can't tell. I think it's a dark blue. A little bit of traffic, just a simple let. I like that little disguise by blue shirt. He showed the backhand straight drive and then went cross. And see right now energy levels are nice and high, and he's picked up the pace again. And he's got those angles of the cross courts, and he's got the weight of stroke on. Let's see if he can maintain that physicality or mental fortitude, or both. So again, using that boast, get white shirt moving around the court. There are white shirts on the ball early. He's missing his targets. That's a much better target. But if white shirt can keep blue shirt moving, it's going to continue to wear into his fitness. See there, that was a tired movement at the back. Some tougher work here. This is going to be a bit of a defining rally. There's the hold. No, this is where blue shirt has to put up a bit of he has to really dig into his mental toughness here, because you don't want to see he's missing his targets now on his length, which is giving white shirt a lot of space to do what he wants. That's a better line. Good defending. That was a nice angle in the cross there. Smart shot through the middle. Oof. Unlucky. Ball sprayed out a bit. It's tough to finish that. Nice little hold there, showing short, going long. Again, I would have probably just gone early drop on that one because your opponent's already so far out of position. Nice little hold again, and short and long. Yeah, that's the pressure. Good use of height and reach to keep pouring on the pressure, taking time away from blue shirt. Blue shirt needs to find those lines. White shirt's found the lines like that one there and that one. Almost. See now, if you just notice, all of blue shirt's lengths are short. Length and width is short, so everything's being cut off before the back glass. Whereas blue shirt is being forced into the extreme areas of the court, into all the corners around the side of the court by white shirt. Good angle squeezing in. Nice deception. Good little rollover of the racket. It's again a good squeeze. Good volley drop. Great job playing the defensive drop to buy time, and another nice hold. It's good to see the players looking to execute their strategy and executing it consistently. And in this case, white shirt, we talked about the hold, we talked about the physicality, and white shirt is doing a great job just consistently sticking to what he needs to do, which is great to see. It's good mental toughness. I don't know who's going to win this match. I haven't watched it before. But afterwards, I think for blue shirt, they're definitely, when you think about working through the summer, for instance, because this took place a couple of months ago, I think, 2 or 3 months ago, a big part of his plan is presumably to continue to improve his fitness and mental strength so that he can continue to do what he started off with the quicker drives, quick low cross courts, getting on the volley early, playing the Boast, and not having such a large drop off when he got a bit more physically tired. I think that's probably one of the biggest things to work on with him, in addition to being a bit more selective with when you go for the attacks. So this is actually good. He missed that drive and now he's in trouble. But this was a good rally by blue shirt because he just lifted the ball when white shirt was on the attack. He just created time for himself. He tried to just reset and he didn't try to do too much. But then he got that one opportunity near the end to hit that drive and he caught sidewall super early. Those are signs of probably some physical fatigue. When you're missing your drive by that much, it's physical and mental fatigue more often than not. It's another good line. Good early volley drop. Ooh, that's a nice change. Great Boast. See, that's the other thing. When you can feel your opponent slow down a little bit, you end up feeling more confident yourself. And white shirt for the first half of this match did not use that Boast or the volley Boast. But now he's starting to use that volley Boast, and not only is he using it, but his quality of the volley Boast is higher than maybe he might have played it once or twice so far. So his quality's gotten better, and he's more courageous. His courage has gone up as the match has gone on, also because he can feel blue shirt struggling a little bit, which is another reason why you never want to show signs of distress to your opponent. No matter how you're feeling, you want to stay strong, sharp, and never give anything away. Yeah, that's a stroke. That ball clipped the sidewall and stayed short in the court. If it didn't clip sidewall and it went through, there's a higher likelihood of the let being given instead of a stroke. Oh, it's a nice variation. Again, you remember early on in, I think it was game 1 at 9-all, he used a reverse Boast variation and blue shirt just barely got it. This time 9-6 up, he hasn't used that reverse Boast for 2 games, almost 3 full games, and there's another one. So great mental awareness there for white shirt to use that variation at a critical time to win the game. Anyways, folks, I hope you learned something from this. I hope that it benefited you. I hope it was entertaining in some way. I'm wishing both these players the best in their junior careers moving forward. Now, if you are a junior or an adult and you want to get better at your squash, you want this kind of an analysis, but in far more detail with a tangible report and a conversation, send me an email and let's get to work. It's ahad@arperformance.com. Again, if you like the video, thumbs up, please subscribe and leave a comment. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.